Because some people want to know a bit more about Nick J. Townsend and what he do, I've agreed to do a podcast. I'm doing this podcast for the WoW channel. Wow, what a lucky guy! I don't even know what WoW stands for. World of WoW? I don't normally do podcasts. I'm not a massive fan of them. What does WoW stand for? Wow! Might be World of WoW. W-O-W. This is designed to tell you a little bit more about me. For those people that think I just spend my time playing music or dropping Rizzler papers. It's for the WoW channel. I broadcast in a shed. So most video bloggers use a state-of-the-art bedroom because their mum and dad won't let them out of the house probably. They're probably not even allowed in the shed. But they probably haven't got the permission. Yeah, what? You can't go in the shed? They might not even have a shed. It's a state-of-the-art shed. It's got a shovel. A rake. It's got a rake. It's perfect, really. I'm not very intelligent. You are probably going to be very disappointed. I'm not going to go all political on you, but I think I should probably explain. I don't know much about politics. I think it's because I watched a lot of He-Man. I don't know what I'm going to do in this podcast. I don't stop evil. You know, one of the things that used to stop evil in the 80s was He-Man. The programme was made by Film Nation. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. There are action figures from a company called Mattel. You got the good guys. Led by He-Man. He had a big sword. He had to protect Eternia, which is like Merry Hill, like a shopping centre, but more like a royal palace where royalty lives, because he was a prince. You know, he had a big sword. Yeah, He-Man taught me a lot about the world and, you know, big swords and fighting evil, really. And the way evil was presented in this programme was by a guy which they called Skeletor. And he had a big sword. Occasionally he'd get a bit out of hand and he'd be trying to destroy Eternia. And the way he could destroy Eternia was to control a place called Castle Grayskull, which held secrets which could destroy Eternia. I don't even know what they actually do at Castle Grayskull. It's got all these secrets, you know, like Area 51, you know, or like the White House, that's got lots of secrets in. Because all I can tell you about the White House is that the President and the President people, they live there, and they've got a telephone and a table where he can sit, and he has to sort of answer the phone and tell people what's going on. Yeah, I don't remember what Castle Grayskull did. It was run by a woman. She was called the Sorcerer. She had a head that looks like a bird, like a budgie. She was wise, probably more like an owl than a budgie. Owls are supposedly quite wise because they can rotate their head 360 degrees, which isn't really that clever, really, because you know, you can see what's coming, but you might not be able to see what's in front of you because you're looking behind you. That's actually not very clever, really. You know, all wise. She had a head. No. She had a normal head. She had a normal head, but it was shaped like a budgie. Well, it looked like a budgie. Oh, it might have been a hawk. The Sorcerer was wise enough to kind of give He-Man some knowledge. At the end of the show, he learned what he learned. Skeletor lived in Snake Mountain. It didn't look very evil. It's actually a nice looking place, you know. Castle Grayskull had a massive skull on the front of the building. It was a massive skull, and it had a drawbridge that people and sorcerers could walk through. And that's how they get in and out of Castle Grayskull. They used to walk in and out of the castle's mouth. I think that used to piss Skeletor off. I think that would really wind him up. A massive Skeletor head on the front of the building they are trying to protect, and he really wanted to get into Castle Grayskull, and they wouldn't let him. Skeletor was a terrorist, really. But I think they could have negotiated with him a bit better. Like, for starters, if my arch enemy had a head which was a skeleton's head and it was a skull, I think it would piss him off if I had a massive castle with basically his face on it. I think if I lived in a massive house with a big skull's head, I think people might be a little bit terrified. You know, fear can control people. You know, if the White House had a big skull for an entrance, I think that might turn a few people away. Might stop them voting. Yeah, or it might make them start. You know, fear. Maybe we can learn from He-Man. You know, the US government is always trying to fight evil. The White House, now they could have handled terrorism the same way as He-Man did, and changed the White House so it had a massive head made out of stone of Saddam Hussein or Bin Laden, yeah, or whoever is deemed as a terrorist. If they put a massive head on the front of the White House, I think that would really piss off the terrorists, even though they don't exist anyway. It's all fabricated. But anyway, I think they've learnt the lessons from He-Man, that they shouldn't put a big massive stone head of the person they're trying to catch, because it might wind them up, their enemy, on the front of the White House. And the door, say the White House, it could be like a mouth, like the person's mouth, the president and the president people. They can walk in and out of the entrance, like the drawbridge from Castle Grayskull. I think Skeletor was actually bullied by the Masters of the Universe for having a head that looked like a skull. Would Skeletor actually call himself Skeletor? A bit like name calling, really, call him Skeletor. I don't think Skeletor's minions would call him Skeletor. In fact, to be honest, calling his buddies minions is a bit degrading. Yeah, in front of the staff of Snake Mountain. Yeah, I mean, calling him like Skeletor might be a bit wrong. Almost like having a gigantic replica Skeletor face on the front of Castle Grayskull. He-Man is like the hero. Storylines were about fighting evil. That's about it, really. And at the end of the episode, He-Man would say something wise, because he learnt that from the sorcerer, because she had a head like a budgie, and he'd tell us what he learnt. Don't bully. Don't bully. Don't call people names. Don't call people names. Don't try and mock people by the way they look. I mean, the good guys, they're all a little bit cliquey. I think they're a certain clique. I never really saw any of the Eternia people, because they were like sheep and morons and useless, and they couldn't look after themselves. So they needed security, a little bit like our world is like. People look after us, like Hillary Clinton. Yeah. Some of the best music in He-Man was whenever Skeletor did anything really bad, and that was when you had really cool guitar riffs, you know, really cool drones and all that kind of stuff. Music's quite important in He-Man. It's important in all things. I mean, look at Jaws, right? Jaws has like real kind of intense music, and that might actually be Star Trek. Anyway, forget that. No, don't forget it. If they had changed the music, it might have made things not seem as they appear. It would change how you look at it. Like, say, let's say, for example, if they change the music to Jaws, you might be thinking,
"I'd never do that. That'd be stupid."
Well, they've actually done it before. There was a film called Drive. It was made by someone. It was an American film. It was a modern classic, and well, it still is a modern classic. But it won't be forever modern classic. It'll be like an old classic, but it's not quite classic yet. It's not that old, but it's a modern classic, yeah. Because we're like this is now. This is modern is now. This is pretty modern. This is happening right now. Anyway, in this modern classic, the BBC decided to change the score of the film called Drive and replace it with worse music. And it made the film really shit. If they changed Jaws and changed the music to Jaws, it would change the whole perception of the film. I can make an example of me making an example. Like, for example, the music from Knight Rider, that would be rubbish. Yeah. Dun 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 dun, like a futuristic version of Jaws, really. He-Man was kind of like the template. Yeah, he kind of helped me to understand what was going on in the world. Taught me all about, you know, power, big swords. I hope this has been informative, really.